There's a reason why Olympic weightlifters don't do bench press, and that reason is simple: mobility. When you go hammer and tongs on bench press, the next day or less, the next few days probably, you're going to be struggling with shoulder mobility overhead. I struggled today with the overhead press. Really just tight, shoulders feel like they don't want to have stuff over their head. And so, I kept fighting to keep the bar over my head. And it didn't go well. So today, I couldn't really manage a lot. It felt really uncomfortable. And because of the bar wanting to drift forward and me expending so much damn energy, keeping it above me, just lose so much strength all the way through the core, and obviously impacts the hips and the knees, positioning. It's all about positioning when you're doing overhead squats. And all of this kind of just made me think there's sequencing, there's programming, there's all this stuff kind of matters. Now, from my point of view, I knew it was going to go bad for me today in overhead squat. But I was happy with that. Okay, sure, the shoulders don't want to be there, but I feel like me putting them there helps me keep open. Helps keep me opening that chest and just fighting that tightness that the bench press has brought in. So I don't know if there's too many other exercises that are better at doing that than the overhead press. I keep saying overhead press, overhead squat. I'll keep putting it in, the day after the bench press. I think it's very beneficial. Many people will just avoid doing anything like this. And then what happens over time is that you get poorer and poorer mobility. Now, I've experienced that on multiple different lifts. The squats and the deadlift both get affected if you lose mobility. And if you keep pushing reps and reps and reps and reps, your body just keeps on getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And so if you never have anything in your program which challenges you to open up a little bit, open that chest, open the hips up, then you just indefinitely keep getting tighter and tighter. And I don't think that's good for you, because eventually that tightness is going to make it so bad for your positioning in the squat and the deadlift that you can actually start to lose strength on the bar because you're getting out of the optimal positioning, that stacked positioning. And so it's kind of weird, right? Like you need certain physics parameters met in order for you to exhibit the best strength. So it's something that I've known for a while, especially when you go into a period like the AMRAP sets with the squats, where you just keep on smashing and then eventually what you find is that your mobility gets worse and worse. And in fact, some of you fellas have said, man, your squat has really transformed over the years. Like you're becoming more and more posterior dominant. And that's because, I've had many stretches where I didn't care about mobility. And so I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And those adductors kept closing in. And then the hip flexors keep closing in. And my anterior pelvic tilt keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And eventually, I get to a point where I'm pushing so hard into the bar, and yet the number on the bar is the same, because now the leverages, the physics are adding weight on top of me. Like the bar path is so far off that I'm technically stronger, but I'm not able to realize it because the damn bar is a few centimeters in front of my middle of foot. And so all of a sudden I'm fighting myself, I'm fighting my own physics, I'm fighting the weight on my back, so then it becomes really, really bad. And so what you often see is the really, really good, strong people at the top, they have this mobility down packed. Now, mobility is not sexy for anyone. Well, there are some people that really care about mobility, but if you're listening to this video, probably that's not your number one concern. But I think it's very, very important. And I think we need to spend more time with mobility. And now there's many types of mobility drills. For me, the overhead squat it's not boring. It's very fun. It's very close to what I care about, which is the squat. And same goes with the horse stance. For some reason, it's mentally challenging as much as it is mobility-wise. So that kind of keeps me coming back. Whereas if you ask me to do static stretching, it's like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't. Number one, I know that it doesn't work the best because I've spent so much time with it. And the other thing is like, I'm just sitting there not doing anything. Whereas something like a horse stance, okay, now there's a time element to it. Like I can really challenge myself. Can I get 90 seconds? Can I get 120 seconds in a horse stance? And I know that is impacting me in a positive way because it's opening up my hips and allowing that muscle to work properly with the skeleton, right? I'm not getting out of position and pushing against forces within me and also out of me, like externally. This is something that for many years I didn't respect, like the whole idea of mobility and probably core as well. You could probably put that into the same mix. I mean, today is my core day, and that's how much I care about core. I've dedicated a whole freaking day in my training program for core. Because if I tuck that sucker in at the end of, leg days or chest days or back days or whatever, I'm never going to give it my full attention. And it's always, freaking hell, I'll skip it today. I'll do it tomorrow or whatever. And then you're always kind of getting these subpar efforts into core. And no, it shouldn't be like that. It should be like you've saved yourself throughout the week for this kind of thing, right? Like there's a whole day dedicated for this. And I love it. And I'm going heavy with it. I mean, this is a 20-kilo plate at the back of me, and this is a set of 5. I did 3 sets of those. Damn near murdered me. Like the hip flexors wanted to pop out of the damn hips. Very, very heavy work and very, very taxing. Like you wouldn't believe how taxing it is. It really zaps you. It really just zaps you because, once again, it's a very high effort endeavor. And anything got to do with the core is going to fatigue you. Anything around the spinal cord, like the core muscles, will fatigue you. And so this and mobility roll up into one day. It was great. Like today, I didn't show it. But yes, again, I did horse stance. And I did it for 7 sets of 1. I dare say I could have pushed that out to 90 seconds, some of those sets. But right now, I'm just kind of playing with the 1 minute and trying to get deeper rather than get longer time in that high position. I want to get lower. I want to get to like proper, 90 degrees or parallel. I want that. And so I think, still working 1 minute is going to do me well. And days like this, I think are very, very good for me. Get the mobility in there with the horse stance, get some core, and you walk out of the place and you're like, my body just feels good. Overhead squats, horse stance, and core work, man, that's not sexy stuff, but it's a must. And if you avoid these things, I reckon you're doing yourself a disservice. I really do. Because in order for you to express your absolute maximum potential, you first need to be in a good position to be able to do that. And if you're not in a good position, it's not going to go well for you. Appreciate you guys like always. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.